Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone, welcome back to day 66 of 100 Days to CAT test series by the Gurukul. Now, in case you want to take this passage as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for the 100 Days to CAT test series. If you want to follow along with this video, then this is paragraph number 1. Pause the video here, read this paragraph, and then we'll go into the second paragraph. This is your second paragraph. Pause the video here, read this paragraph, and then we'll go into the third paragraph. This is your third paragraph. Pause the video here, read this paragraph, and then we'll get into the questions of this passage. Now this is question number 1. Pause the video here, read and answer this question, and then we'll move into the question number 2. This question number 2. Pause the video here, read and answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 3. This is question number 3. Pause the video here, read and answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 4. This question number 4, the last question of this passage. Pause the video here, read and answer this question, and then we'll get into the passage and question explanations. So, what does this passage talk about? In an era where access to information has been democratized, expertise paradoxically seems to be both more valued and more questioned than ever before. So, it's telling us that now, in this era, in this time, when access to information has been democratized, that means everyone has access to the information, expertise paradoxically seems to be both more valued and more questioned than ever. What does that mean? It means that, yes, you having an expertise brings value to you. Also, it makes you, become the object of more people questioning you about it. Specialists, whether in medicine, economics or technology, are expected to provide definitive answers, yet their conclusions are frequently met with skepticism. That means what? Public looks towards these experts for definitive answers, for proper answers, but yet the answers that these experts give, this public might not always believe. The challenge is not simply one of public mistrust, but rather a deeper paradox. The very process that produces expertise can sometimes narrow its scope, leading to blind spots that outsiders may recognize before experts themselves do. So, what is he saying? He's saying that there is a challenge, okay? That challenge is not just of public mistrust, but that when you are trying or when you are in the process of getting expertise, right, this in itself narrows the scope of how much you think. And because of that, there are a lot of blind spots. That means things that you may overlook, okay, which others, the outsiders who are not experts in the field, they might recognize. So, what are the ideas that I get from this passage? Two things. First thing is that specialists or the opinions of the specialists are now in question, okay? So, public is questioning the opinions of the specialists. Second thing, gaining expertise narrows your scope. These are the two things that we are getting from here. Historically, specialization arose out of necessity. That means there was a need, which is why you had to do specialization. What was the need? As knowledge expanded, no individual could master every field, requiring society to delegate authority to those who had devoted their lives to particular discipline. That means what? When knowledge, okay, it expanded. That means a lot of new depth came into each and every topic. Okay, no one person could learn all the different fields. So what could these people do? These people had to rely on some person who had spent all their time to learning only one particular field. The benefits of this model are clear. Specialists have developed life-saving medical treatments, engineered resilient infrastructures, and refined economic models that guide global policy. However, the very mechanisms that refine expertise, rigorous training, strict methodologies, and insular academic networks. So, what is insular over here? Insular over here is being cut off from other disciplines. Okay, so insular academic networks can also constrain it. So basically what he's saying, the mechanisms which were supposed to give you expertise in by themselves are also bringing out, they are lessening your scope. So experts operate within predefined frameworks, filtering new information through established paradigms that, while useful, may also be limiting. That means what? Okay, these experts, whoever are working on a particular thing, when they are encountered with a new problem, they first try to solve it in the same ways that they know have worked for other problems before, instead of thinking for new ways. Okay, and that might reduce their thought process, that might reduce the scope of what they are trying. So let's go to the second part. Cognitive biases compound this issue. That means there are some kind of a mental habits which are added on to this issue. The Eistellung effect, for example, refers to the tendency of experts to approach problems in familiar ways, even when alternative solutions exist. That means what he's telling us about this Eistellung effect, Now this ice telling effect is that you are trying to approach problems in the same way that has worked out for you before, even though you know that there are other alternative solutions. Research has demonstrated that chess grandmasters, for instance, sometimes overlook simple winning moves because they are primed to look for complex strategies. Now what is the meaning of this word primed? This word primed over here can be understood as trained. Okay, so these chess grandmasters, they are trained to look for complex strategies, so they sometimes ignore even simple winning moves. Similarly, medical professionals may misdiagnose conditions by anchoring their assessments on standard cases rather than recognizing outliers. That means what? Even medical professionals, they are basing their assessments on standard cases, what they have seen over and over and over again, instead of thinking about the exceptions. While experience refines skill, it can also reinforce cognitive habits that under certain conditions make expertise a liability. That means what? Although experience, okay, is improving your skill, it is also sometimes becoming a liability. Yet, expertise remains indispensable. That means what? Although there are certain drawbacks to you being experienced or you having an expertise in a field, we cannot say that people should not have expertise in anything. The alternative, relying on generalists or public opinions, carries its own risk. That means what? If you do not have an expert, okay, you'll have to rely on public opinion or a generalist, someone who does all the things, and that has its own risk. Complex problems often require deep technical knowledge, and while an outsider may occasionally provide novel insight, sustained progress depends on accumulated expertise. That means what? Okay, most of the complex problems, to solve a complex problem, you need a very, very deep insight into something. So even if some generalist or some outside person might sometimes give you a new idea that could solve a problem, most of the problems, if you are looking at a long-term benefit, you definitely need to have an expert. Some argue that the solution lies in interdisciplinary collaboration where specialists from different domains challenge each other's assumptions. So now he has moved on to solutions. Okay, so far he's explained the problem, what all can happen with the having an expert, but now he's talking to me about the solutions. So one of the solution is that there should be interdisciplinary collaboration where an expert from XYZ field and expert from ABC field should sit together and they should discuss thoughts. Others suggest that experts should be trained in cognitive flexibility. That means what? They should be trained to think diversely, encouraging them to question their own frameworks actively. That means they should be encouraged to think about their own ways of thinking very actively. Am I thinking the right way? Is this the only way to think? They should be trained to do this. Now let's move forward. Despite these proposed solutions, resistance to change remains a formidable obstacle. That means what? Okay, I have given these two solutions, but the problem is that experts are very, very resistant to change. They don't want to change that quickly, and that is a very big obstacle. Okay, formidable, something to be afraid of. Okay, formidable means something to be afraid of. Experts who have built careers within a particular paradigm may be reluctant to entertain conflicting perspectives, particularly when doing so threatens their credibility. Moreover, public skepticism of expertise has been exacerbated by instances where specialists have failed spectacularly, whether in economic forecasting, public health, or technological predictions. So what's he saying over here? Okay, the experts who have built their entire career, okay, in a particular frame of thought, they would not want to entertain these alternate frames of thoughts, especially when it is threatening their credibility, especially when they are thinking that they might lose the authority that they have. And added to that, public skepticism of expertise. That means this mistrust that the public has on these experts, it is increasing. This word exacerbated. Exacerbated means to make something more severe. Okay, so exacerbated is to make something more severe or more extreme. Okay, by instances where these experts have failed altogether. Such failures are often interpreted not as the limitations of a particular model, but as evidence of the fallibility of the expertise itself. So when an expert fails, okay, people do not think that that model in which they were thinking or the model that they've implemented has failed. They think that the expertise is the expertise in itself is wrong. The paradox of expertise is unlikely to be fully resolved. That means, okay, maybe it will not be completely, it will not be completely resolved. The tension between specialization and adaptability is intrinsic to human knowledge. That means it's within them. Okay, the specialization and adaptability ka tension, the conflict that goes on. What remains possible, however, is a greater awareness of the limitations that come with expertise. By acknowledging these blind spots, experts might not only improve their own methodologies, but also build public trust in a world where knowledge continues to expand at an unprecedented rate. So obviously, what the author says is that yes, there's some kind of a conflict between expertise and the adaptability. So people who are experts, they're not very, very adaptable. They don't want to change so much, and people who change a lot, they do not usually become experts. So in all of this, what can we actually do? The experts need to start thinking that yes, they have limitations. Once they understand that they also might have certain limitations, maybe they will go forward and think in different ways so that they can, improve their own methodologies, right? And that improvement of their own methodologies will also build public trust onto those experts. Now, let's get into the questions now that we've understood the passage clearly. The passage primarily seeks to achieve all of the following purposes except. So, what does the passage not want to do? Highlight the inherent limitations that arise from deep specialization. Definitely the passage has told us about, what are the limitations of having deep specialization. So, the passage is doing this. To examine the cognitive biases that shape expert decision making, they told about the Einstein-Fleming effect or something, right? What is that? I think, yeah, Einstein effect, right? So, since they have told us about that, obviously, this cognitive bias have been spoken about, so this won't be the thing. To explore the tension between specialized knowledge and adaptability, the last part of the paragraph has clearly told us about this, so this also will not be the thing. To argue that public skepticism of expertise is largely unjustified. See, nowhere has he told that this is justified or unjustified. He has only given us solutions to how to gain public trust. So definitely this is something that our passage is not trying to do at all. So our correct answer would be D. Now, which one of the following approaches would be least effective in preventing the cognitive blind spots of experts based on the ideas in the passage? So, what is the worst way in which we can try and prevent the cognitive blind spots of experts? A, training specialists to periodically reassess their core assumptions. Now, this is what we've seen, right? Not only your own methodologies, but start questioning your methodologies. So, this is something that might be effective. Okay, so this won't be our increasing public involvement in expert decision making process. Obviously, he has said that the alternative to expertise is getting these generalists and public, and that is not what you should do. So obviously this might be a good answer. This is something that the author has said will not work to help to help experts understand their cognitive limitations. So B might be a good answer. Exposing experts to alternative viewpoints outside their field, again this is something that the author has said, that if you are trained in different fields, if you see if you come out of your field and you see the insular academic networks, if you leave and you come out, you might be able to reduce your cognitive blind spots. So this also is given in the passage. Developing systems that challenge experts models. Now again, if you are developing systems that challenge experts model, they'll be able to understand what blind spots they have and they might come out of it. So D is also effective. B is the least effective one amongst all, so definitely B is going to be my answer. Now let's go to the question number 3. All of the following are mentioned as potential drawbacks of specialization except. So what is not a drawback of specialization? Rapid advancements in specialized fields can make previously acquired expertise obsolete. See, we want people to dedicate their entire life to something, right? So no matter how quickly that particular technology and all is improving, whatever they have learned so far is not going to become waste of anything, right? So obsolete means it's no longer useful. So whatever they've learned, that's not going to become useless, right? So A looks like a very good answer for this. Specialization can make experts resistant to perspectives that challenge their existing model. Now obviously this is one of the drawbacks, so definitely not going to be my answer. Cognitive biases may prevent experts from recognizing flaws in their own reasoning. Now obviously cognitive biases which are preventing experts, that is a drawback, right, of expertise. So that's not going to be my answer either. Experts may approach problems in rigid ways, overlooking alternative solutions. Now when experts are approaching problems in rigid ways, that means without going out of what they have tried and tested, that is a problem for expertise, right? So this also is not going to be my correct answer. The best possible answer is A. Now let's go to the last question of this passage. It can be inferred that the author would least likely disagree with. What does the question even mean? Least likely disagree with. Can I maybe just replace least likely with not? Just for the sake of it. It makes the question so much easier. It can be inferred that the author would not disagree with which of the following statements. Okay. Experts should not question their frameworks, as doing so weakens their authority. But the author would disagree with this, right? Author wants the experts to question their models. They want to question their own frameworks, right? So that they could think out of the box also. So least likely disagree with? No, this thing author will disagree with. The benefits of expertise outweigh its drawbacks, but blind spots must be acknowledged. Obviously, the author would not disagree with this. The author would agree with this, that yes, there are benefits to expertise. There are good benefits to expertise, like creating new technologies, creating new medicines, creating new cures. But whatever the drawbacks are, the blind spots, they must be acknowledged. You have to look at the blind spots and you have to get out of them. So B looks like a really good answer. See, the rigidity of specialized knowledge is a byproduct of its precision, making adaptability a secondary concern. So what's he saying? Rigidity is a byproduct. Okay. So adaptability is a secondary concern. That means not such a big concern, but the author would likely disagree with this. No, he might disagree with it. So it's not least likely, he may disagree with it. So definitely not going to be the answer. Why not the answer? Because the author wants us to, wants the experts to be adaptable. He doesn't want the experts not to be not adaptable, right? Now D, the effectiveness of expertise is best judged by its consistency, not by its ability to incorporate new insights. Now, author clearly would disagree with this. Why? The author wants the experts to think in a new manner, not only in the manner that they've been used to thinking. So it's not only consistency, which means used to thinking the same manner, but new insights need to come. Okay, so definitely D is something that the author would disagree with. So what is the author least likely to disagree with? It is B. So the best answer for us would be answer B. Now, if you watched the video till here, please make sure you hit that like button, because that motivates us to keep bringing videos like this to you every single day. Do comment how many answers you have gotten correct. I understand this was a good passage, but don't give up. Next passages are going to be better. If you practice well, you can crack CAT 2025 this year. Share this video with one of your friends who's preparing for CAT 2025 but does not have great resources to prepare from. And I'll see you.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.